All right, this is a very personal video. Okay, it is a video where I'm going to share something with you which I honestly didn't want to share. Um, it's a fear of mine. It's me, I think, for lack of a better word or phrase, showing that I'm vulnerable and maybe, showing my weakness. And one of the key reasons I didn't want to make this video is because, social media content creators, especially men, we like to show we are strong. We like to show, like on Andrew Tate, alpha male. We know the solutions to everything. We have the answers to everything. We are successful. So I was like, if I share this video, what will people think? Even I have those thoughts sometimes. But then I decided, I mean, whom am I trying to fool and what am I trying to hide? If someone has to make fun of me, they'll make fun of me anyhow. So might as well, just share this. And out of all the places I got the inspiration for this topic when I was in the gym, that is why I'm wearing, this my gym outfit. That's why you'll see some of my photographs in the gym when I show the muscles. It's always these kind of outfits that I wear. So the topic is about my fear, and the biggest fear that I have, the biggest fear is one of them is being irrelevant. Okay, now what do I mean by this? I'll give you an example so you can understand. I'm not close to my stepfather. Okay, I hate him. Forget close. I absolutely hate. Hate is a very strong word, and I use it very carefully. I hate that man for being the most incorrigible, horrible, terrible human being. And I absolutely have no shame saying this, but I wish he suffers the most painful existence. Okay, keeping that emotional part aside, both my mother and father, I watched them from nothing in the sense, from being lower middle class people to becoming middle class to becoming slightly upper middle class, dominating there. And they were off to a great retirement where they could easily retire for the rest of their lives. They had, I think, 3 or 4 properties in Mumbai, which is considered to be one of the most expensive places in the world. Okay, they had good properties there. They had good, like an apartment, shop, whatever. And they had very good, decent savings because they lived like misers. They literally saved money on, like, if they could buy, instead of buying one good soap, they would buy the same price 20, 30 soaps that, it's like bullshit. Instead of buying one decent shampoo, they would buy stuff that you would not even use to wash dishes. Like, they were terrible, horrible misers. They didn't believe in investing anything. Typical, you could say this word is kanjus, or in Thai people sometimes categorize, stingy Indians as kinia. Kinia means penny pinchers. They will my parents were the classic example of um, negotiating for one free onion, or checking the price of, oh, these tomatoes cost like 1.1, this one cost 1.5. Okay, I'll take that one. So, and to give you how bad or how their mentality was, the scarcity mentality, um, my mother and father, my mother especially, championed the habit of going to a restaurant. They would give you a box of tissues or this thing, like cutlery that you can use. She would literally try to take anything possible. And if it was possible to take the cutlery, also she would take. It was that bad. I know I'm exaggerating a little, but she used to literally take everything, and she used to ask for free. Yeah, can I have the free bread? Can I have free this, free that? Okay. And those days, we're talking of the 80s, the Arabs were there in Dubai. They were very generous. Okay, the lady is asking you. So my parents, through that penny pinching process, PPP, penny pinching process, saved a lot of money. They had property, they had money, and the only thing they had to do was continue life and retire. My stepfather was working for a employer. He was one of the earliest billionaires in Dubai. His name is Bukatir. Okay, Bukatir. He had a company, Bukatir Investments. He had, those days they used to make computers. No, you remember the CRT monitors. He had a company, CUB, Cub. He called it. I don't know what it was, full form. They would assemble computers and sell. So, and he had multiple divisions. So my father was working he was working as a receptionist. And I can tell you this, that he was getting paid good money. He was getting British salaries those days because he was one of the early Indians to come to UAE, my mother and him. And Dubai or the Arab world did not know that Indians, you could get them for cheap and you could get them in large quantities. So they were not aware of that. You're talking of the early 80s, 70s, 80s. Okay. So my parents made lots of money. You're talking of someone who should have been paid maybe $100 a month. They were getting paid $1,000 a month. I'm giving you for example. So they were getting paid good money. And they, obviously that got to their head. They thought they were invincible. Nobody could, what do you call that word? Indispensable. Yeah. They thought nobody could touch them. They thought they were offering incredible value. They didn't know what meant competition. They did not know what meant job loss. They didn't know what meant job insecurity. They never knew it because they never experienced it. I still remember so very well. My stepfather, would get up at 5:30. This was the standard. 5:30 in the morning, he would get up, or 6. Go have a shower, everything, get ready. He would wake me up to study, and I was not studying. I would just get up and like this. He would make me sit in the hall room. I was sleeping there also. They would not allow me to sleep in the bedroom with them. My stepbrother, half brother, used to sleep with them. I was in the hall room. I was unwanted. So he would get up, have a shower, get ready. Then after that, he would prepare breakfast. His breakfast was the typical eggs, and he would have red beans, and he would have toast. Okay. And he'd have a cup of tea. That was his standard. For me, he would just give me maybe, I don't remember, maybe tea or coffee, maybe something. Okay. And then by the time it was, say, after he finished his breakfast, he would dress up in a shirt, the typical olden days check shirt, or, you can see the, what do you call that? Steve Jobs, IBM days, they used to wear the shirt and tie. He didn't have bell bottoms, but he used to wear that, just cheap office clothes. And he would, because office was close by, he would go walking there. Okay. And then by the time it was 1 o'clock in the afternoon, he would come back home to have lunch, and then go back again. And by the time it was 5 or 6, I think 5, he would come back home and the day was done. So he would answer calls, he would do administrative assistant work. That was it. And, just speaking on the phone is not a big deal. Those days they had that big machine with the phone with the, wire. So that was his job. And he thought he was doing a damn good job. Okay. My mother, she used to teach exercise in a health club. She used to watch Jane Fonda. I don't know if you know this, but Jane Fonda in the 80s she used to teach people how to lose weight by doing 1, 2, 3, and other way, and 1 and 2. My mother would watch all those Jane Fonda tapes. We had VHS tapes. And she would read from some foreign article, take photocopies, eat toast, eat grapefruit, and that's how you'd lose weight, the gimmicky diets. And she would have Arab customers, that is, the sheikhs' families, their ladies. Those days they were not allowed to go out. So they had a good interaction, and they would pay my mother for our good money, very good money, if I see it as per today's day and age. And they would give a lot of free gifts because they were rich and they were lonely. So my mother and father made good money. They didn't have to worry about unemployment. They never thought about it. They never thought of upgrading themselves. They never thought they would lose their job. In fact, they never ever thought they would lose money. They would need money. They just thought life would go like this, and maybe when they would retire rich. Lo and behold, today, if you look today, right now, my mother and father both are bankrupt. They are penniless. They have nothing, no money, zero. They are under the mercy of my stepbrother, who is currently in Canada. I don't want to give out his personal details, but he has a good career. He is married, and I have a lot of respect for him because he takes care of both the mother and my stepfather. I don't send them even a penny. I would not be bothered, even if they were on the streets dying, for the abuse they made me go through. But I respect my stepbrother for half brother for taking the initiative, and it's not easy. He's looking after them, literally looking after both of them, and he pays for their medical expense, he pays for their stay, he pays for their food, and both of them right now are very sick. Father has dementia, and he has blood pressure, diabetes, and my mother has blood pressure, diabetes, and she is in the ICU a couple of times. She nearly lost her life, so he has been there for them. Now you must be wondering, like, oh, okay, if they were doing well and they had enough and more money, successful, how did they go bankrupt? What happened was, late 70s or early 80s, he joined, good demand. He went through the whole 80s, 10 years, the decade, made good money, and they were, tax free money. Okay. And they were buying in India. That time it was affordable. And then for the next 20 years also, things are good and they were making money. But now, slowly, Dubai started opening up. Many South Indians who came to Dubai, who are buying houses, who are buying villas, who are building villas and properties in India, which were cheaper those days. Other people looking, oh, where did he make his money from Dubai? So all of them started to move to Dubai, the gold rush. And very soon, Indians multiply like cockroaches. Soon there were so many Indians, so many. The employers like, there are so many Indians and so much of talent, and they are ready to negotiate their salaries. And they found out that these people are desperate and ready to work for cheap. So then the question began, why should I pay them British salaries? I can pay them Indian salaries. So as per Indian standards, they started to pay them. And then it became a volume-based business of getting Indians. And it was there, both my mother and my stepfather lost their jobs. Okay. Thankfully, my mother, because she was, doing freelancing, Jane Fonda's exercise and diets, and she was doing waxing, she was doing all miscellaneous stuff for ladies. She was still making money. Okay. She was like a freelancer. My stepfather, however, he only knew the corporate world. He never made his CV. He never went for an interview. He never upgraded his skills, never focused on communication, nothing. He was just in his comfort zone thinking he'll forever have this job and money. Until one day he was called. I still remember this. He was called to the GM's office. The GM was Pakistani, I think educated in UK or something. He had a UK passport, so obviously he was maybe the GM or something. He called my stepfather to the office and he said, and this is me paraphrasing because this is what he shared. He said, Mr. Pinto, and his name was Pinto, and my stepfather had, these A4 size paper they would print out and say, certificate of appreciation for serving 10 years with Imitac or Pukatir the Singh, and they would put a signature and they would put a stamp, and he would get this paper laminated that he would put on the wall as his achievement. He worked 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. He even had a 25 years. He used to show it proudly. And he would be given a watch or a cross pen. You know, he felt, oh, wow, this is excellence. Or a cheap piddly trophy. Okay. So he was maybe assuming that he would get something like this. He was called to the office and he was told, okay, Mr. Pinto, you're no longer required for the company. Your services are no longer required. Here's your pink slip. Okay, the HR will do the rest. He got a shock of his life. He thought he would be working with them till the age of 60. And here he was in his 40s and it came as a total shock, absolute shock, late 40s. And he said, I give my blood, sweat, and tears. I worked, 6 days a week, 7 days a week. I was ready to work extra hours. I gave you everything. And the GM, I remember these words, which were so powerful. He said, did I ask you to work 7 days a week? He asked him, did I ask you to work 7 days a week? Did I tell you come to the office, very early and leave very late? Did I tell you that work with this company only, don't work with anyone else? And you didn't work for free. We paid you money. You didn't work for free. We paid you over and above what you deserve. In fact, we could get you a replacement very easily for half the salary, but we kept you. So you should be grateful. And today, you no longer serve any purpose. So we don't need you. When we wanted you, we paid you. The service no longer required. We don't need you. And we are paying you your full salary. We're paying you your full settlement. So what's the problem? This is not a charity organization, Mr. Pinto. He got a shock of his life. And I'll tell you, it must have never hit him so hard because he always thought he was invincible. Came home, broke down, cried, whatever. First time I seen him devastated, destroyed, because he always had that aura, the confidence. He used to walk with his hands at the back, like a authoritative figure, like some kind of Hitler. Seriously, like that he used to walk, like hands at the back and walk, look up. And people used to shiver. In my family, people used to shiver because they thought he's so great. He was great only because of his job and money. After that, he thought, I'll still get a job. I'll show them. Made his CV. There were no resume rebranding services like me. There was no internet at that time, I guess. At least Google was not there. So he tried to make whatever CV he could. And here's the shocking part. He went for the next many years for so many job interviews. He would be called, but nobody gave him a job. Not even a salary, not even half, quarter, nothing. He didn't get a single job. He didn't get a job anywhere. And that destroyed and crushed his confidence. And my mother, being more of an alpha male, an extrovert, I got all her genes, ADHD and all that. She told me, don't worry, we'll do. And they, her ego to save the family, she told him, we'll start a business, we'll invest here, we'll invest there, okay, you support me. And so he agreed to work for my mom and support her. They tried multiple businesses. They tried selling cards. They tried selling food, catering. They tried running a gym, which I was involved. I made a story of that. You can check it out. Just type Machedo gym, whatever you'll get. They tried multiple things. They tried a tire retreading business, which they got cheated by the guy completely. Whatever they tried, wherever they put their hand in, they kept losing money. They kept losing. And, your savings, you lose. It goes like death by 1,000 cuts. And obviously, you have to spend money to maintain that lifestyle. And as it is, their lifestyle was below the standards. Now they started even putting off the AC and not having air conditioning in the house. Can you imagine that? In 50 degrees, 48 degrees heat in Dubai. They would not even put the AC, man. They were that pathetic. I don't blame them because, that's how they live their life. And after investing in multiple businesses and one son, me, not knowing what he wants to do in life, wasting money on me with little bit, whatever they could, and on my stepbrother, who also didn't have the guidance, so he was taking all the wrong decisions. Went to Australia to complete some education, then some certification here, there, everywhere. They even replaced me in the gym business, putting him. He was a kid that time, assuming that he's going to make the business work. Money went down, 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 down. Finally, they lost everything because they got into the credit card world. My mother had multiple credit cards, something she should have never done because she thought she was smart. She thought she would succeed. And before you know it, they racked up enough credit cards, enough loans, and they couldn't pay. They couldn't pay the business, they couldn't pay the rent, they couldn't pay the banks, they couldn't pay anyone. And there's only so much that you can do to bullshit and take money from here and there and everywhere. And by the time I was not there, I had left maybe 10 years, whatever. And finally, they had to leave UAE because the banks and everyone was hounding them. So they sold off whatever, cleared off whatever, and finished. Life in UAE was over because they were too old. They couldn't manage it. And that was where, obviously, my brother by that time was helping them. And I had left them ages ago, so I didn't know when they moved to uh, India and what they were doing. And, in between me and my life, I had that suicide attempt, which I mentioned in my videos. Machedo 2011 suicide, yeah. So that's how they reached bankruptcy. That's how they lost everything. But now the question begets. The question for you guys is, what am I trying to tell you through this video? Here's a reality. Here's a dose of reality, rather. We all like to believe we'll always have a job, we'll always earn money, we'll always be relevant. But the fact remains, one day we are going to lose our job, whatever job we have. One day we are going to lose that employment. One day we are going to lose the salary that we have. And the reason for losing the job or reason for losing the money or the position, whatever, is relevance. Well, if you're running a business, you don't have to worry. Yeah, sorry, let me rephrase that. If you're running a business, yes, you have a lot to worry because maybe you had running a great restaurant and now suddenly there are 4, 5 competitors. Now money gets shared. And if in case their food is better than yours, then you're finished, right? Let's say you're running a, internet cafe where people pay money to access the internet and play video games and you're serving coffee and snacks. And now suddenly there are 20 other internet cafes competing with you and they are offering free hours, extra hours. Business goes down and suddenly internet becomes so free. How do you sustain your business model? See, times change, right? When times change, your business can become irrelevant. Let's say, for example, you're a translator or you're a typist. And all of a sudden they come out with a software that can, like these OpenAI, can translate easily. Translator has lost his job. A typist, let's say he's busy having typists and you can voice record and get it typed. Finished. Typist has lost his job. So everything has competition. Everything has, a phase, a fad. Times are changing. And then what do you do, man? Once upon a time, there was no YouTube. Whomsoever joined YouTube early, they became multimillionaires. Well, now that landscape has not saturated as such, but there are billions of videos and millions of content creators, and they're still coming in. Yeah, and YouTube is now paying a fraction, a tiny fraction of what it used to pay. Okay, whether it's cryptocurrency, whether it's drop shipping, whether it's FDA, whether it's e-commerce, whether it's coaching, whether it's mentoring, whichever field, at some point competition will come. At some point technology will change. At some point maybe AI will take over, and very soon you become redundant. Okay, like for example, once upon a time I used to get every Tom, Dick, and Harry asking me, what should I change in the resume? How do I make this sentence better? How can I make it sound better? And today, all those youngsters who are asking for free, now they have AI. So they don't need to ask me, which is perfectly fine. But it shows you the changing trends. Before people used to talk about video editing, now there are online video editors. Okay. However, luckily, AI cannot connect with people, emotions, feelings. It cannot give you one to one personalized service. It cannot give you a deeper connection. Like, for example, if there are, this is the example I normally give, there are 10 engineers, 10. All 10 are using AI. All 10 are using software online. All 10 are using the information that they get. ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, Gemini, then Poe, and whatever. Okay, they're using all of these. So you think if there's only one job, only one opening, you think all the 10 will get the job? No, only one will get, right? So the question is, if all of them are equally qualified, if all of them have the same experience, if all of them are using the same softwares, who gets this job? Big question, right? Who gets this job? The answer is whom the decision maker, the main guy, knows and perceives and believes this guy will give me the maximum ROI, return on investment. You can bullshit on your CV, you can bullshit on your speaking skills, you cannot bullshit on performance, right? And imagine if the guy says, fine, I'll give you plus two others a job. I'll try all three of you. Survival of the fittest. After 3 months, only one of you will have the job. Now, you can't use AI to do your job, right? You have to do your job right. Yeah. So, even though technology has changed, even though internet, everything has evolved and changed so much, it finally boils down to relevance, how relevant you are. For example, let's say a very famous movie star, let's say Shah Rukh Khan or Tom Cruise. Once upon a time, heavy demand. People love them. They're crazy about them. Any movie they star in, people have to watch. 20s, 30s, 40s, their age, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. But after some time, the new generation will come and they'll be like, you're acting like a 20-year-old or 30-year-old, but you're actually 60 or 70. Who are you trying to fool, man? You get what I'm saying? Like, just imagine Tom Cruise. If you see his normal photo, he has wrinkles, his face is like this. I mean, do you think he can act like a 20-year-old? No. His time is up. And maybe the generation that loved him is now old and dying. The new generation that has come, they'll be like, who's this old man? Like, for example, wrestling, WWE. Remember Bret Hart, Hulk Hogan, Undertaker, all these guys? Once upon a time, we thought it was real. They had superpowers. We thought Undertaker was raising from the dead. We thought Hulk Hogan was getting superpowers. We thought they were actually fighting a wrestler from Iran or Iraq or Iron Sheik. We thought Kane, that guy with red, he had some dark under powers. Today we have come to know that, because all the secrets are exposed, they are all putting on an act. It's all scripted. I'm not saying they are not athletes, but you kind of get the sense of what I'm saying. Once upon a time, we never had an iPad. A computer was this big ass CRT monitor, and it was green fonts, green blinking thing, and you have to put commands. And the games that we play today, which are so realistic, they were actually blips on the screen, like two things moving. Like there's a ball, it'll, tung, tung, like tennis. Think these are two players. They have to move up and down the cursor, and there's a ball. Tung, the ball will go here, tong, and tung, tong, tung, tung. We used to play Atari. You can Google search this. So it all disappears. We have seen Kodak come and go. We have seen General Electric, one of the most powerful companies, come and go. We saw brands like Cadillac, Ford, which were so relevant, vanish like into nothingness. There was no Tesla. We see Tesla, which is so relevant. So the point I'm trying to make here is what was once relevant is no longer relevant today. And that is one of the greatest fears I also have. What's going to happen tomorrow? Now, here's the thing. For me, I can at least see the numbers. Numbers in the sense that every video I can see, okay, there's many numbers. Okay, this is a topic that's relevant. Okay. But mind you, that is not my relevancy. I'll make you understand what I mean by that. Let's say, for example, there's a hot trending topic, something very shocking, controversial, and I cover that. Okay, it'll go maybe, say, for example, 100,000 views, example. But then I need the next viral content, right? Every day, something shocking is not going to happen. So maybe next day I put something about education and learning. Who's interested? Third day I put something about life. Nobody cares. But then one other shocking, oh, this girl had sex with this guy and this happened and this something exploded. Oh, viral. So that's not relevancy. That is just relevant. It's a fad for the moment. The relevancy is where people are willing to pay me money for my service. That's why these numbers, no, the social media numbers, they don't matter. They pay you money, yes. If you get 1 million views or 10 million views, which I'll never get, I know for a fact because I'm not chasing those numbers. Because remember, burnout is real in YouTube. And eventually, out of those, say, 1 million people, who's your target market? You have to clearly define. For me, my services are $237 right now per hour. So YouTube gives me, say, $500 a month. I give the content $500 a month. Here, within 2 hours, I got the same revenue of a month from YouTube. So YouTube is not my bread and butter. And YouTube metrics will not help my brand grow or pay my bills. It gives little pocket money that I can give it to my child or whatever. My relevance is people willing to pay me money, like someone paying you your salary, like how my stepfather used to get paid. The question is, how long? I wish I had an answer. It's very easy for haters to comment, you piece of shit, you're irrelevant. What about you? Have you asked yourself? Like at least, I tell people, sometimes I tell the haters, at least people know my name. When they Google search, they'll get something. And in the real world, not online, people pay me money, even if it's video, take my service. You who is commenting, hey, you piece of shit, hey, cheap views and all. I'm not hating on you. How much is the salary you're earning? Okay, that's number one. How far will you grow? Will you become a manager, senior manager, regional manager, director, CEO? Where do you see yourself? Why someone will give you that position, especially when there's so much of competition, and not just locally, state-wise, regional-wise, national-wise, or maybe international. Where do you think you stand? Why should someone pay you more money? You get what I'm saying? And if you continue in the trajectory you're going, like today you're earning, say, example, say $1,000 a month you're earning. When will you get 1,200? When will you get 1,500? When will you get 2,000? You think every year your salary is going to increase? No. You think every 3 years? And expenses are guaranteed to grow. Expenses guaranteed to grow. You get a girlfriend, you start spending more. If she marries you, then you start spending more. And then if you have a kid, you have to spend even more. And once you get a family, oh goodness, expenses only keep going up. School is not going to get cheaper. Inflation is never going to go down. Products, whether food, groceries, nothing is going to get cheaper. So what do you do, man? How do you earn more money? How do you stay relevant? And just like my parents, they had a phase where they made money. They had a phase, but then that phase was over. Then they had to, either work for maybe half the price, or that also they didn't get offered. Even 1/10, nobody was ready to offer. Finally, they were irrelevant. Old age people, nobody wants to employ them, nobody wants to give them a job. So now they have to depend on their children. Please take care of me. What do you do then, man? When the children say, when you have to go to your children, please take care of me. Problem, right? I know so many elders, like uh, people who have my uncles, aunts, elder than me. Today, the children are taking care of them. Now, some people will say, oh, that is why it's better to have two children. Well, guess what? What if one is responsible and one is a bum? Have you ever thought about that? What if one is very good and one is horrible? One is normal, healthy, one is abnormal. This is real facts. Huh? I'm talking hardcore facts. The reason why most people don't think about this is because they get a salary per month. So you're in your comfort zone. Same job, same desk, same colleagues, same salary. Don't have to worry about it at all. Nothing to worry. Until one day that job is pulled under your feet. The rug is pulled. And then you're like, oh shit, now where do I go? I have to go to work somewhere. Where do I go? And then you start applying for a job. Please, sir, give me a job. Please. Just give me a job. Please let me work. You're begging to work, to be paid. Just imagine you're offering a service and yet you have to beg and plead for them to give you an opportunity to give them value. And they feel they're doing you a favor by giving you a salary. And then you have to literally do it every single time you lose your job. Terrible life, right? That's my biggest fear. And because, thankfully, honestly, thankfully, because I don't get a salary per month, every single day I have to think, what's next? What's tomorrow? How do I earn money tomorrow? How do I get a new client tomorrow? What do I do to stay relevant online? What do I do to attract my client? What do I say, or how do I upgrade myself? What do I learn? Constantly, because AI is evolving, uh, the algorithm is evolving, people are changing, tastes are changing, economies are changing, policies, the world is changing. So if I could leave you with one powerful, very, very powerful message, it would be, how relevant are you? How relevant are you now? And how relevant do you think you're going to be? See, and if you want to know how relevant you are, don't measure your relevance with the current company. Is seriously, from heart, I'm telling you. You want to know how relevant you are? Make your resume, your business profile, float it in the market. The response people give you, the job offers, actual job offers, not an interview, actual job offers. Here is a job offer in the letterhead. And they say, that is how relevant you are. But if you are not getting any response, you just are lucky to have that job. And your relevance is only in that company, in that job position. And the day you lose it, ah, hoo, hoo, hoo. I wouldn't wish that on anybody. It's such a bad wake up call. It's a very bad taste in your mouth. There you'll come to know everyone's true colors, from your friends to your families to your girlfriends, your lovers, your admirers. Because from being relevant with a position, money, power, or irrelevant, you'll get to see the real side. And which it's a horrible thing, man. Horrible. I've seen people who had invested in businesses, had a business, had a position, had power. After they lost everything, they became a shell of themselves. Same thing happened with my stepfather. After he lost his job, his position, his money, he became a shell of himself, completely destroyed. He's never the same man ever again. And it finally got to him mentally, it got to his health physically, got to him emotionally, both of them. Today, they are nothing but just dying. So that is my biggest fear. And that should be your fear as well. How relevant are you? And how relevant you will be. Think about what I said. Reflect. It's very easy to feel confident and powerful when things are working well, when you have a job, when you have a salary. Let me see how strong, confident, and invincible you feel when you're without a job, without money, without friends, without family, and with just hope. You don't know when you'll be saved. Then you'll come to know who you are. Like they say, tough times, no? They reveal your true character. Anyway, just thought I'd share this heart to heart conversation with you. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. All right, you guys take care.